Plus, Parkland shooting victims' families face gunman Nicholas Cruz in court today.
And in sports, hear from Newswatch reporter Aiden Crowley, live from Peden Stadium ahead of tonight's matchup with Buffalo. Newswatch starts right now.
And I'm Silver Barker. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. We have an update to a story we told you yesterday. An Athens high school teacher is among those arrested in a joint human trafficking sting over the weekend.
The Hocking County Sheriff's Office, with the assistance of Southeastern Ohio Human Trafficking Force and the FBI, conducted a joint human trafficking sting operation in the Hocking Hills area. 52-year-old Wayne Horsley was charged with engaging in prostitution, a first-degree misdemeanor. Horsley, a government teacher and former girls basketball coach, has been placed on suspension. A cyclist is in recovery after being attacked by dogs in Vinton County. The 64-year-old victim was staying in a cabin this past weekend and decided to go for a ride on her mountain bike. While riding past a home, the woman was attacked by 3 dogs in a Shea Road area near Lake Hope. A passerby then stopped and used their vehicle as a shield and getting the canines to flee. The victim was taken to the hospital with serious injuries and then later had to be flown out to a larger hospital in Columbus. Vinton County deputies say the owner of the dogs has been identified and is cooperating. This matter is still under investigation.
The Athens Messenger reports the Athens Police Department is investigating 2 separate reports of shots being fired early Saturday and Sunday mornings of Halloween weekend in the 100 block of West State Street near the cemetery. There were also a total of 180 calls made for service over the weekend and 16 arrests made by the Athens Police Department, with only 1 resulting in a transport to the Southeast Ohio Regional Jail. All other arrests were cited and released. The Uptown celebration after dark was relatively incident-free, as Athens Deputy Service Safety Director Andrew Cheeky described the city's annual Halloween celebration as festive and good-natured. In some states, Halloween celebrations ended in violence this weekend. In Chicago, police are investigating a drive-by shooting that left 14 people, including a 3-year-old. And in Kansas City, 1 teenager was killed and 6 others injured at a Halloween house party. Reporter Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
For many, what is meant to be a fun night with family and friends,
yeah, it's disturbing,
ended in fear.
Taking the lives of people is not the answer. And I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Kansas City police say 1 person was killed and at least 6 others were injured in a shooting Monday night. Police say as many as 100 teens were at the house party when a group of uninvited guests were asked to leave.
As they left, they started shooting up the house, shooting randomly.
In Chicago, another community suffering a mass shooting.
We have up to 14 people shot at various ages, as young as 3.
Chicago police say people gathered for a vigil Monday night on a busy corner in the city when 2 people traveling in a dark SUV opened fire around 9:30. At least 7 victims are dealing with serious injuries.
Let's right now treat this in the most urgent way. We're trying to find an offender.
And in Texas, 28-year-old Takeoff, a member of platinum-selling rap group Migos, was shot and killed early Tuesday morning in downtown Houston.
There was a private party being held at the event last night that ended at approximately 1 a.m., but the party carried over till about 2 a.m. till they were cleared out. That's when the shooting occurred.
According to Gun Violence Archive, there have been 573 mass shootings so far this year. The group defines a mass shooting as at least 4 people being shot, excluding the shooter. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Wiz reports that in Muskingum County, Barcel USA LLC, a snack and candy manufacturer, expects to create 320 full-time jobs, generating $15 million in new annual payroll as a result of the company's new project in Perry Township. Ohioans across the state will see new job opportunities pop up as Governor Mike DeWine and Lieutenant Governor John Husted have announced the approval of assistance for 3 statewide projects. The 3 projects have been set to create over 3,000 new jobs and retain over 8,200 jobs across Ohio. The Ohio Tax Credit Authority, or TCA, reviewed economic development proposals brought to the board by Jobs Ohio and its regional partners. The projects are collectively expected to result in just over $150 million in new payroll and spur more than $4.7 billion in investments across the state. Hi Cam, how is the weather looking tonight for the game?
Well, it's been cloudy all day today, and it should finally clear up for us, but it's going to be just as hot and humid as it has been over the past few days. All right now in Athens, we have a temperature of 63 degrees. It's overcast, but clouds are going to clear as the night progresses. Look for clouds to be about partly cloudy by the time the game ends, and temperatures should still be around the high 50s. Currently, we have a little bit of a low pressure system that's kind of passed through the region, and it's going to start making its way to the east. But that's all I have for our first look at the weather. Now we're going to bring you live to Aiden Crowley at Peden Stadium as Ohio University gets prepared to take on Buffalo.
Yes, Cam. Tuesdays have a new look for Ohio football as midweek action kicks off for the Bobcats against the Buffalo Bulls.
To tell us more about it, we welcome WOUB Sports Director Aiden Crowley live from Peden Stadium. Aiden, I've been seeing a lot of promotion for this game. What's all the hype about?
Yeah, thanks, Silver. As you can see, we're about an hour away from kickoff, and we have fans already starting to trickle in, which is surely the calm before the storm. Now, you mentioned the advertising. OU's been really pushing this game because what's on the line for the Bobcats? The winner of this one controls its own destiny in the MAC East with a potential trip to Detroit for a MAC championship on the line. As you can see, the Bobcats and Bulls are the top 2 teams in the East, with Ohio trailing by a game. A win leapfrogs the Bobcats over Buffalo with the W in the head-to-head. Ohio then shifts its focus on Bowling Green in its regular season finale for its first East championship since 2016. But the Bobcats first have to battle tonight against a tough Bulls team. Rourke and Ohio will have to take care of the football in this one, with Buffalo forcing 17 turnovers in 8 games. The Bobcats must keep their explosive offense on the field to put up points in bunches. On the other side of the ball, Ohio is playing with momentum. In back-to-back games, the Bobcats have only allowed 14 and 17 points respectively. Guys like Key Thompson must continue to make key plays in crucial moments. And guys, it's going to take a complete team effort in this one, and we expect it to go down to the wire. So make sure you're following along on Twitter at Bobcat Showcase, and for post-game content at woub.org/sports. Madison?
Thank you, Aiden. We look forward to seeing how this one plays out. When we come back, where politicians are rallying ahead of election week. Plus, what victims of the Parkland shooting are saying in court today. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Oh my goodness, this week's games are insane. Eastern gets a shot at vengeance against TVC Hawking champions Waterford. Granville heads to Jackson. Can the Granville defense stop that explosive Jackson offense? And Bloom Carroll is coming off a 48-point win in round 1, but the Tri-Valley Scotties haven't allowed more than 40 points since 2016. Tune in Friday night at 11:30 on WOUB for the full breakdown. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
On Secrets of the Dead, hieroglyphics, mysterious symbols from the ancient past.
For the ancient Egyptians, the word was incredibly powerful.
But who inscribed the texts that help us understand ancient Egypt?
These hieroglyphs, who painted them, I've got to get to know him.
Decoding hieroglyphics on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, Antiques Road Trip.
I like it.
20 seasons.
Ooh, pretty good, yeah.
Of antiques experts.
Oh, stop it.
Scouring Britain in classic cars.
Yeah, baby.
On the hunt for hidden treasures.
I think I found something.
It's brilliant.
The goal? To make the biggest profit at auction.
You're some man.
There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers. Antiques Road Trip. Stream all episodes now with Passport on the PBS app.
An ancient mystery. Who created the Nazca lines and why? Can recent discoveries and modern science reveal clues?
We let AI learn from these famous geoglyphs.
We do archaeology without digging.
We're connected to our ancestors, the past, the present, and the future.
Nazca Desert Mystery on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Ohio U.S. Senate candidates Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance are currently answering questions during the live town hall event on Fox News Channel. The event began at 6:30 p.m. and is taking place at the Fives rooftop venue in Columbus. The event is not connected to their two prior debates where they clashed over issues like immigration, abortion, and gun control. According to a USA Today Republican candidate, Vance has a slight lead over Democratic candidate Ryan with a 47 to 45% average. Nearly half of the Ohio Supreme Court is on this fall's ballot, a race that could determine the future of Ohio's district maps. Candidates on the general election ballot will be labeled by party for the first time this year. Depending on the result, a Democrat win could see the Ohio redistricting issue continue to be pressed and revisited in court. A Republican win would likely make it a dead issue. Reproductive rights are also at stake with this election as well, with Ohio's 6-week abortion ban likely to be brought up to court.
There's only 1 week to go until Election Day, and some big names are hitting the campaign trail. President Biden will rally in Florida Tuesday. Former President Obama will be in Nevada. Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney will campaign with Democrat Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan. And Mike Pence will rally with Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia. CNN's Jessica Dean has more.
Candidates in key races are making their final pitch to voters.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And receiving a boost from some big names.
Are you ready to go and vote?
Former President Barack Obama is set to stump for Democrats in Nevada tonight and Arizona tomorrow, two states critical to the party's path to retain control of the U.S. Senate. Those stops coming after he fired up crowds in Georgia, Wisconsin, and Michigan over the weekend, campaigning against Republican candidates like Herschel Walker and Senator Ron Johnson.
He's a celebrity who wants to be a politician. And we've seen how that goes. He's not the person who's thinking about you and knows you and sees you.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden heads to Florida today, where he will rally with Senate hopeful Val Demings and the state's Democratic candidate for governor, Charlie Crist. And former Vice President Mike Pence will campaign in Georgia with Governor Brian Kemp, a candidate who's drawn the ire of former President Donald Trump. Another Republican at odds with Trump, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, travels to Michigan today to campaign for a Democrat, Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin. Cheney last week endorsing Slotkin, who's facing a competitive re-election race.
Right now, we are seeing record turnout.
Re-election voting is surpassing 2018 levels. More than 21 million ballots have been cast across 46 states, including nearly 2.8 million early ballots in Florida and more than 1.6 million in Georgia.
Parkland, Florida school shooter Nicholas Cruz is set to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. The 2018 massacre left 17 people dead at Majority Stoneman Douglas High School and sparked a national conversation on gun control. Victims' families had the opportunity to face Cruz in court today. Sister of 14-year-old Parkland shooting victim Elenia Petty had words for the gunman.
But what we've been told here is that 17 lives are worth nothing if you can make enough excuses for your actions. He has gotten everything he's wanted in this case, and we are left with nothing and a slap in the face to top it off.
The jury spared 24-year-old Cruz from the death penalty after Cruz's attorneys argued he is mentally ill. His formal sentencing will take place later this week. Pfizer announces the end of its trial for the RSV vaccine. That story's still ahead.
and humid so far this week. When are we finally going to get a break, or will we get a break? Stay tuned for my full forecast after the break.
They make an unmistakable sound. But woodpeckers are incredibly varied. And these charismatic birds drum in almost every forest, everywhere in the world. Think you know the woodpecker? Think again. This is the whole story.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
President Putin calling up hundreds of thousands of men prompted widespread protest.
They can be sent to jail for just using the word war.
Stories of Russian activists and journalists refusing to stay silent, facing arrest and imprisonment in the face of Putin's crackdown on critics of the war in Ukraine.
The regime has become much more authoritarian.
Premieres Tuesday, November 1st, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
On Finding Your Roots, actors Lupita Nyong'o,
Oh my goodness! I did not know that.
Scarlett Johansson,
We are all a product of this big melting pot.
and chef Lydia Bastianich.
It was a scary time.
Ancestors who fled,
It must have been hell.
escaped,
That border really meant a division.
and took a chance.
Your father's story is a miracle.
He's my hero.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Oh my goodness, this week's games are insane. Eastern gets a shot at vengeance against TVC Hawking champions Waterford. Granville heads to Jackson. Can the Granville defense stop that explosive Jackson offense? And Bloom Carroll is coming off a 48-point win in round 1, but the Tri-Valley Scotties haven't allowed more than 40 points since 2016. Tune in Friday night at 11:30 on WOUB for the full breakdown. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Good evening, everybody, and I'm Newswatch forecaster Cam Kuznin. And I hope you're all excited for the football game tonight, and our local radar right now is going to show absolutely clear skies when it comes to the region. There's no sort of rain or anything like that, even on its way towards us, and we are going to have some warm, but no chance of rain or lightning or any sort of delays for the game. But weather has been just a little tough these past few days, and we've had this weak low pressure system kind of formed, and it started to make its way towards the northeastern part of the United States. There's a big clear slot down towards the southeastern United States, and that is going to be a very strong high pressure system that's going to make its way into our region. Our surface features right now, you can see it. You can see it here down by Memphis, making its way up north towards us. Tonight in Athens, we're going to have a low of 45 degrees. Partly cloudy skies as they're going to clear as that high pressure begins to work its way through the region. Sunset tonight was at 6:28 p.m. and we will see sunrise tomorrow morning at almost 8 o'clock. Across the nation right now, we have a little bit of rain across on the western part of the United States. That's because a really cold pocket of air, cold, dry pocket of air, that's going to be making its way towards us in due time. You can see the temperatures over there down into the 40s right now, and we have this big warm slot here, and it'll be 70 degrees in Louisville and 70 in Chicago, and all the way up to 78 in Memphis at the center of that high pressure system. Tomorrow we're expected to see a high of 67 degrees. It's going to continue to warm over the next few days as that high pressure begins to work its way into the region. And a low of 43 degrees. We're going to see a warming trend over the next few days. And there's that high pressure system there tomorrow and into tomorrow night. It's going to stay mostly stationary as that cold pocket of air is going to slow down a little bit. And by Thursday, you can see it's still stuck right in the region. This weekend, we're expected to see 72 degrees by Friday, and that's going to warm up to 76 degrees on Saturday, which is a little too warm for me in November. And then we'll have some possible showers Sunday as that cold pocket of air, along with the cold front, is going to push through the region. Unfortunately, it's not going to be too helpful for our temperatures. And by Sunday, 74 degrees with a low of 51 degrees. Monday, the chance of showers will stick around, but we'll still see 72 degrees. So it doesn't look like we're going to get a break from the hot weather anytime soon. But when that cold front makes its way through, we'll see a little bit less humidity. So it'll be less muggy and less disgusting to be outside. By Tuesday, clouds will clear through the region. We won't have any more issues with that, and temperatures will start to trail downwards. And if you take a look at the long-range forecast, we even have snow in our very, very far out model. So stay tuned to Newswatch over the next few days to see when that'll happen. And that's all I have for your in-depth look at the weather. Now back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Cam. Pfizer announces the end of what they call a promising trial for its respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. Mike Valerio reports on Pfizer's discoveries for babies when it comes to this respiratory disease.
Looking back at pictures, you could see it in her eyes that they were just like puffy. I was in panic mode. It was terrifying.
As pediatric hospitals across the country still see an above average number of hospitalizations due to respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, Pfizer is announcing the end of its trial for the RSV vaccine and says it's ready to submit its data to the FDA by the end of the year. The news welcomed by doctors.
This actually is very significant, and especially because we are seeing right now the struggles that we can have as a community.
In the Pfizer study, not yet published or peer-reviewed, 7,400 pregnant participants were given a single shot of the vaccine during the late second to third trimester of their pregnancies. Pfizer says the vaccine was 82% effective at preventing severe illness in babies and 70% effective in preventing severe RSV in infants for 6 months.
In the RSV vaccine, that would be a different category of vaccines. That would be one that will be protecting the mom and, most importantly, the newborn.
Children's hospitals remain filled with virus patients due to RSV. Brittany Rivera's 6-year-old son had to wait hours just to see a doctor.
Just having him not be able to actually get good rest is the worst because he's so tired and he can't sleep very well.
Pfizer also saying that they're making headway with positive results in an ongoing trial of the same vaccine for older adults. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Around 37 million Americans have diabetes, yet the CDC says about 1 in 5 people don't even know they have it. The disease can lead to serious health problems. In honor of National Diabetes Month, Mandy Gaither has more on why experts say self-care is key. It's today's Health Minute.
It's a disease that can strike at any age. Diabetes, which happens when a person's blood sugar is too high, is a serious health threat.
It can affect the eyes and the kidney and the heart, and it's actually linked to certain types of cancer.
Managing the disease and preventing further complications isn't easy. That's why the National Institute of Diabetes, Digestive, and Kidney Diseases says it takes teamwork between a patient and their doctors. Dr. Griffin Rogers says to remember the ABCs. A stands for A1C, a blood test that measures average blood sugar levels over the past 3 months.
And for most people with diabetes, we aim to keep that at about 7%.
B is for blood pressure. The CDC says most people with diabetes have high blood pressure. Roger says managing it is critical.
So for most people with diabetes, keeping their blood pressure numbers less than 140/90 is a goal.
C is for cholesterol. Lifestyle changes like diet and exercise can help lower it, so can medicines like statins. Finally, S for not smoking.
Smoking and diabetes narrow the blood vessels and lead to the vascular damage that can cause problems in the kidneys and the eyes and the heart.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Rogers says developing a diabetes care plan and sticking to it can help someone with diabetes live a healthy life. He also says early management is key to preventing the progression of the disease.
Coming up in sports, not 1, not 2, but 3 Ohio soccer players received All-MAC honors. Find out who after the break.
Next time on The War, the Battle of the Bulge.
And as I said, when they fired the first round, it darn near hit me.
Iwo Jima.
I always looked around and wondered now, how many men am I going to lose?
And fire rains on Japan.
They burn out a third of the whole area, and we knew that Americans were getting closer.
Part 6 of The War.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Oh my goodness, this week's games are insane. Eastern gets a shot at vengeance against TVC hockey champions Waterford. Granville heads to Jackson. Can the Granville defense stop that explosive Jackson offense? And Bloom Carroll is coming off a 48-point win in round 1, but the Tri-Valley Scotties haven't allowed more than 40 points since 2016. Tune in Friday night at 11:30 on WOUB for the full breakdown. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
An ancient mystery. Who created the Nazca lines and why? Can recent discoveries and modern science reveal clues?
We let AI learn from these famous geoglyphs.
We do archaeology without digging.
We're connected to our ancestors, the past, the present, and the future.
Nazca Desert Mystery on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
President Putin calling up hundreds of thousands of men prompted widespread protest.
I can be sent to jail for just using the word war.
Stories of Russian activists and journalists refusing to stay silent, facing arrest and imprisonment in the face of Putin's crackdown on critics of the war in Ukraine.
The regime has become much more authoritarian.
Premieres Tuesday, November 1st, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
Happy Tuesday, I'm Reese Thompson. As Aiden was saying earlier, players who are going to have to step up for the big matchup tonight is leaders like quarterback Curtis Rourke, and he's proved himself nevertheless as he's been named to the Davy O'Brien National Quarterback Class of 2022, announced by the Davy O'Brien Foundation. This award is one of the oldest and most prestigious honors given to the nation's best college quarterback. Voting will take place on the Davy O'Brien Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts. The first round of voting will take place on Tuesday, November 15th, followed by 2 more rounds of voting in the upcoming weeks. What's better than 1? 3. 3 Ohio soccer players have been awarded by the Mid-American Conference for their stellar performance this season. Ohio's Abby Townsend and Reagan Berg were selected to the All-Mid-American Conference first team, as voted by the league's head coaches. Townsend played in every game this season, accumulating over 1,500 minutes. She led the Bobcats offensively this season with 7 goals, 10 assists, 45 shots, and 27 shots on goal. Townsend has made her mark on the field and in the Ohio record book for most games played, goals scored, shots recorded, and points accumulated. Fellow teammate Reagan Berg also earned this title after playing in 18 games and starting in 16. Berg recorded 987 minutes on the field and led Ohio with 8 goals this season. Her notorious hat trick is only the 4th in program history, leaving her name in the Bobcat record book as well. Overall, Berg took 38 shots, 19 of those on goal. Last but certainly not least, Eve Barish has been named All-MAC freshman team. After playing in 18 games for the Bobcats, recording 469 minutes on the field, Barish proved to be an offensive threat after scoring 2 goals, securing the 4th place seed for Ohio heading into tournament play. She finished out her first season as a Bobcat, scoring 3 goals and taking 9 shots with 4 of them on goal. I'm Reese, and that's your final look at sports. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Reese. Now over to Cam for final weather.
Thank you, Madison. And you can see we've had a little bit of clouds throughout the day today. That's going to push its way off to the northeast, and we'll have a nice little clear slot. We'll see a little bit less clouds today as the football game gets ready to end. Tonight, we're expected a low of 45 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Sunrise tomorrow morning will be at about 8 o'clock a.m., a little bit right before there. Tomorrow, the high will be 67 degrees, mostly cloudy as clouds are going to start to increase through the day, with a low temperature of 43 degrees. And over the next few days, mostly cloudy tomorrow, and it's going to start to warm up, 71 degrees on Thursday, and it'll be 73 degrees on Friday. And that was your last look at the weather. I'm Cam Kuzno. Back to you, Madison.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Silver Barker. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Visit Athens County. More information can be found at AthensOhio.com. Athens, it's more than a place. Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality.